Welcome, everybody. This is Mac, and we're going to talk about combining like terms. This is a super important thing that you need to know in algebra because you're going to be doing a lot of this. So please don't go on to any other sections until you feel really comfortable about this. So I'm going to give you some steps. Watch the video. Where can you find that video? I'm glad you asked that question. You can find it on maxtutorials.com, and you'll see a video where I explain how to do this. But I think where you really learn a lot is when you do these worksheets with me and you see me working this out. If we were doing it privately, you'd be on the other side of the desk. I can write upside down really, really well. And this one-on-one is a really great way to learn this. So let me talk to you as if we're doing this one-on-one. So number one, I like to use an underline method. Some people do circles and squares and find another way, but what you want to do is you want to find what the like terms are. Now, to be a like term, it has to have the same number. Sorry, not the same number. The same letter and the same exponent. When I say letter, I really mean to say variable, but I just wanted to be really clear. It's the letter. So in fact, I look at number one, I see a 3x squared and I see a 5x. Well, they have the same letter, but they don't have the same exponent, so they're not like terms. So I'm going to underline this 3x squared, and I'm going to look for another x squared, and I see it right here. That's also an x squared. So since they're both x squareds, they are like terms. And notice that I underline the negative sign as well. That's important, and I'll show you why in a minute. Now, I have a 5x. I'm going to give him a double underline because he's not a like term. I don't see any other x's. And a number, that's also a term, but he's not a like anybody, so I'm going to give him 3. So I'm going to have 3 terms at the very end of this. Really, the only thing I'm combining are the 2 that are single. So I read this like this. I can even write it on the side. 3x squared minus 2x squared. Okay, and I can think of that, now 3 minus 2 is 1, but I can also think of it as add a line, change the sign, right? Signs are different, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, and you're going to get a 1x squared. Now, you don't really need to write that 1. That's a little bit extra. So when you just see an x squared, that's assumed to everybody that that's 1x squared. What do I do with all the rest? You just copy it. Think about it like this. X squareds are completely different. These are like pens, these are apples, and these are coffee cups. Okay, so you obviously you can't add them together. You need to think of them as that separate. Okay, so we had two. What did I say? Apples or bananas, or I don't even remember what I said. Okay, pens. Okay, so I have 3 pens minus 2 pens. I have 1 pen. Okay, I have 5 bananas. I have 5 bananas. I have 4 coffee cups. I have 4 coffee cups. So that's how I want you to think about while we do these. All right, so I'm going to go a little bit faster now. I just took a time on number 1. Here I'm going to underline a 7y squared and a plus 4y squared. This doesn't have the same exponent, so he's not a like term. So I'm just going to combine these guys. And I read it as 7y squared plus 4y squared. I don't say the minus because the minus goes with the 2y. The plus goes with the 4y. So it's 7y squared plus 4y squared, which gives me 11y squared. And I just copy down the rest, which in this case is minus 2y. Okay? Number 3, 4a minus 3a. Notice I underlined the sign. An a squared is a completely different thing, and a 2 is a completely different thing, so I'm really only combining these guys. 4a minus 3a is a 1a. I have a plus 6a squared. Well, do I go plus 6a squared here? Well, I can, and I'm gonna for now. And then this 2 just kind of drops down as well. We usually like to write these, though. This is not a wrong answer, but it's not really in what we would call a standard form. We always want the highest exponent to go first. So this one's a little bit better if we write it as 6a squared. That's a positive a, so write plus a plus 2. That looks a little bit better, and we'll start doing that right away. All right, here I have a 9b squared and a plus 8b squared and a minus 4b. These are my like terms. So 9b squared plus 8b squared, sorry about that, is 17b squared. And I just copied down the minus 4b because he didn't combine with anybody. On this one, I have a 5m. I have a plus 3m squared. That's not the same. They have a different exponent. And I have a negative 7m. Hey, that's the same as my 5m, so I underline him. So I combination is 5m minus 7m. Well, that's like add a line, change a sign. Signs are different, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's minus 2m. And remember, I like to write the squared in front, so I'm going to write 3m squared out here. Okay? Let's go on to number 6. I have an 11x squared and a plus 4x squared, and I have just an x sitting right there. I'm going to combine my x squareds. 11x squared plus 4x squared is 15. Ooh, I hit a wrong button. Boink. 15x squared, and I have nothing to do with the 6x, so I just copy him down, and I take the sign with it. Always take the sign with it. Now, on this one, this has got a few different things. I have a 2p. I have 2p. Oh, wait. Okay, and then I have a p cubed. That's different. I have just a number. That's different. And I have another p cubed. Well, I have a double underline here, so I'm going to double underline him. Okay, so I'm going to combine my double underlines, and I read it as 8 positive 8p cubed minus 4p cubed. That's going to be 4p cubed. And I copy down the rest. That's a positive 2p, so I write plus 2p. And that's a positive 1, so I write plus 1. Okay, let's go on to this one. I have 10n squared. I have a 3n, he's different. And I have an n squared, he gets the single. 10n squared plus 4n squared is 14n squared. And I just copy down the n minus 3. And I make sure that the negative sign goes with the number. So now, number 9, I have an r cubed. I have an r squared. I have an r cubed. He got a single underline. And I just have an r. Okay, he didn't have anybody to play with. So I can combine my r cubes. Remember, that's like a 1 out in front, right? 6r cubed minus 1r cubed would be 5r cubed. Okay, and then I have a plus 2r. And then I have a plus, 2r squared plus a 4r. Okay, let's go and do the next column. This is a lot of problems. Sorry about that, guys, but this is such an important concept. I don't mind taking a little extra time on this one. Please take the time and get this. 7m cubed minus 4m cubed, positive 2m, positive 6. Make sure to say those positives and negatives. 7m cubed minus 4m cubed, that's a 3m cubed, plus 2m squared, plus 6, because they have nobody else to combine with. We only had those as like terms. Number 11, I have 2p squared. I have a 7p. I have a minus p squared. He's going to get a single underline like the 2. And this is just a number floating out. He's going to be all by himself. So these are the two that get combined. A 2p squared and a negative 5p squared. We can think of it as add a line, change a sign. Signs are different. Subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. Copy the term. Remember, when we add, we copy the terms, okay? Then I want to write my p next, and then I want to write my number. All right, number 12. I have an x, I have an x squared, and there's an x. So I'm going to combine my x's. 14x plus 2x is 16x, and I just copy this down with a minus 9x squared. Now, remember, we like to lead with the squared, so this might be read better as a minus 9x squared plus 16x. This isn't wrong, but this looks better, okay? 13, 6y cubed. This is a number. This is a y squared. This is a y cubed, which if I look back, that's a single underline. Now I'm going to copy my single underline. 6y cubed plus 5y cubed is 11y cubed. Then I'm going to go to this one next. It's a negative 4y squared, so I write minus 4y squared. And then I just have a number floating out, and so I write right here. Going on, number 14, I have a 7n. I have a number. I have an n squared. Those are all different. And then I just have a number. Well, what do I do with my number? I double underline them. Great, I'm going to double underline them. Let me start now with my n squares. Positive 2n squared. I'm just going to write 2n squared. Done. Okay. Now I have an n. It's positive, so I'm going to write plus 7n. Done. All I'm left with are my numbers. A positive 3 and a negative 3 plus a positive 8. Signs are different. Subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number, which is positive. Going on to number 15, I have an a squared, I have an a, and I have an a squared. So I'm going to combine my a squareds, and I have 13a squared plus 6a squared is 19a squared. When you say all the words, negative 8a, you tend to not make as many mistakes. So make sure that you say the words. I have a positive 8. I'm subtracting a negative. Say all the words while you're doing this. Number 16, I have a 5b, I have a 7, I have a b squared. All of these are different terms, and I have a 1. Well, 1 looks like the 7. That's a double underline. I'm going to start with my b squared. That's going to be a negative 2b squared because a minus goes with that. Okay, now I'm going to go with my b, and that's a positive 5b, so I'm going to write plus 5b. And now I'm just going to combine my positive 7 and my positive 1, and I'm going to get a positive 8. Two more. Number 17, okay, I have a 4x squared, 3x, that's different, 2x squared, that gets a single, and a 5x, that gets a double. Ooh, I got a few of these to combine. That's kind of cool. Let me start with my x squareds. 4x squared minus 2x squared, it's just 2x squared. And here I have a positive 3x and a positive 5x. That's going to be a positive 8x. There, like terms combined. Pretty cool. Number 18, I have a y. I have a y squared, I have another y, and I have another y squared. Let's start with our y squared. Here's how you have to read this. Positive 4y squared plus 1y squared. Okay, that'll give me a 5y squared. And these right here, I look at that as an 8y minus 3y, which gives me a positive 5y. All right, guys, that's a lot of work. But if you can do that, you are really set up for success. So there's version A right there. There will be a B and a C if I went a little bit too quick, or if you felt like you're a little fuzzy, please go to version B. If not, move on to the next thing and keep moving in algebra. Good job, everybody.